Hey there guys, it is November 2nd and time for another time lapse. And since it's November 2nd and Wreck-It Ralph comes out today, I decided to do a Wreck-It Ralph time lapse here. And I'm going to put the black background on the canvas there first, and I'm going to be making his giant pixelated head, as you can see there. Thought about doing the logo, but I thought his head would be kind of cooler and I can make it really big on the canvas, so I decided to go with that. There's going to be a decent amount of layering in this time lapse, as well as kind of like a puzzle piece decoration. I'm going to be doing a little bit of puzzling decoration as well. And I did cut out the giant red piece to be a little bit bigger, because what I want to do is have enough to overlap without any trouble. So right now I'm just going to cut out all those pixelated pieces which make up his hair, and then I'll start working on the part of his face. I am kind of limited to the colors that I have. Duck Brain doesn't exactly have a lot of skin tones, so I have to go with the beige for his face, but it does come out pretty cool in the end, and you'll be able to see that eventually when we get towards the end here. But right now, just cutting out his hair. This took about, I would say roughly about a minute and a half just to cut out all those pixelated images. Of course, it's a lot faster when you're watching it at 4 times its normal speed. But as you can see, I'm not going to trace all the way around his head. Just going to kind of make some lines on the sides, and then I'm just going to go straight across, and you'll see that in a second when I pull this whole thing up. It's just to give me roughly an idea of how much to overlap, and it's always easier to overlap rather than try to match it up on the borderlines, because you can match things up on borderlines, but you have to cut it really well, and sometimes I'm not able to do it exactly, and then I have to kind of fill in the gaps. So you can tell his hair is a lot bigger than it really should be for the image here. So I marked where I want it to go, kind of making sure it's nice and even on that giant canvas. It's a little confusing because there's more hair there than it should be, so I kind of have to take that into consideration when I'm lining it up and making sure it's even on all sides. So there's the beige tape, and I'm going to start cutting out his face next using that HD clear packaging tape by Duck Brand to kind of hold the paper down. And now you're going to see me go all the way up and around his face here and his ears. Haven't seen the movie yet. It just came out today, obviously. I'm probably going to go see it later on tonight. One of the hazards of being a Disney cast member is that you eventually go to see pretty much every single Disney movie that comes out. It's kind of an occupational hazard. So there's his face, and I'm going to trim that out, kind of peel up all the excess tape. Do a little bit of extra trimming. There were a little bit of the white adhesive strips kind of giving me a little bit of trouble, but not too bad. This isn't quite as detailed as a lot of the pixelated designs I've done over the years. This one's really big, and it's always easier to do really big ones rather than small ones. So there you get to see exactly how much it overlaps. It overlaps by quite a bit, but that just makes it that much easier when I'm trying to line it all up. So there's the entire outline of his face. Now I'm going to work on kind of these 2 little pieces of hair on the side, and they're really just 3 small squares, and you can see me stick those there. Kind of the definition for his ears, more or less. And there's 1 extra one on that side. Yeah, his hair isn't exactly even all the way around. So now I'm going to work on his eyebrows, and those are made out of brown. They're kind of like a maroon color in the picture, but I decided to go with brown. Kind of had to decide what all the colors I'm going to go with. I'm going to use pink for his nose. It's actually a much darker pink, but Duck Brand has the hot pink here, which I decided to use. And it's a little bit of a compromise, but it still works. Now I'm going to work on his eyes, and then I have to work on those black parts for his pupils. And all really basic cutting, mostly just squares. The trick is when you're making something pixelated, you want to make sure that it's more or less totally even on all the sides. And because when something's pixelated, it has a lot to do with lines and making sure everything looks nice. So definitely keeping it even on all sides is a major form when you're working on pixelated images. It doesn't really make it too much of a difference when you're working on normal images, but definitely when you're working on pixelated things, it definitely helps to have everything lined up and even. So there's the majority of his face. Now I have to work on part of his earlobe. It's kind of just kind of an off pink, but I decided to draw a little more attention to it and make it a brown, as you can see here. It's really just 2 L-shaped pieces. And I'm going to stick those right over there. Still looks okay, even though it's a major contrast when compared to the picture. And this is, of course, his face, or not his face, I'm sorry, his mouth, there's his teeth, and then the black is the definition around his mouth. And that's just 4 small pieces, which you can see right there. And this will pretty much wrap up the time lapse. So I'm going to stick on his mouth, make sure it's more or less completely even there. And then I just have to put the definition around the sides. And we got that piece, and that piece there. So hopefully you guys liked the video. Of course, this is on Wreck-It Ralph. Pretty cool design. I think I did the fist thing. Yeah, I'm gonna wreck it. Yeah. So hopefully you guys will see it soon, and I'll catch you guys next time on the channel. Hopefully you liked the video.